Alright, so to be honest, I was gonna make an entire like YouTube video tutorial, like perfectly narrated and everything, but after doing a 40-minute recording session and doing everything from trying to put it together and then slicing it up, I figured that it's gonna take me a lot longer to make than I expected. So instead, I'm gonna be making a very impromptu, off-the-cuff tutorial video on how to use my VRM0 plugin instead, because oh boy, making that tutorial video is gonna take me forever otherwise. And by the time I get it done, I have a new version of the plugin done for Blender instead. So I'll just do it as it is now, because yeah, I'm never gonna get it done otherwise. So what does my actual plugin do? That's the question, right? The thing is that usually when you're making a VRM avatar in UniVRM, there's this entire complicated process of binding blend shapes. So here I have an avatar that I did the entire process of converting it into a VRM model, but it does not have any of the bindings done. So if I check out these bindings, these blend shape clips, I'd have to go through every single one of them, go to body, and then trigger this one so that I get the A blend shapes. And if I go to here over to the angry offset, I'd have to go and hunt down the angry blend shapes and like do all of this. And for the basic 10 or what, how much this is? Oh, there's some extra blend shapes there. In any case, there's 10 basic blend shapes normally, and with VC Face SDK there are 28 blend shapes, and that takes significant amount of time to do, and that is like unacceptable. And especially when you're working on multiple avatars like I have over the years, and you keep doing the same thing over and over again, especially when working on multiple avatar variations that have clothing. So for example, I have variations where my avatar has like is completely without any clothes. I have an avatar that has a jacket, and I have an avatar that has that should have like a military fatigues. In any case, it's just like if I make many variations of an avatar, this is painful process. And eventually I want to explore into ARKit or even HTC or Meta blend shapes, because I do have an HTC face tracker and I have an ARKit phone, an iPhone for ARKit tracking. But this entire VRM process of binding all of the blend shapes is absolutely a pain. So I made this plugin. I'm just going to open up again this compatible format here. In any case, if I have avatars that I just like brought in, and I have technically many variations of this avatar and its clothing and stuff like that, I can now just go to my plugin, go to Autobind, VC Face, or for right now, VC Face SDK bindings, and because what happened there? Invalid path. Don't mind that last 30 seconds there in that when I had a script error there, but that's probably that's related to something completely different, because there was an existing VRM model, so it did not like existing blend shapes and it did not like generating them. In any case, so my plugin is supposed to work by just going to selecting the base VRM mesh you have made, going to Autobind, BSF events, and basically generating everything from the bindings of the blend shapes. So here I have the bindings, so all the bindings of the blend shapes that are in there on the mesh. And if I wanted to, for example, generate a whole bunch of blend shapes for ARKit or VC Face, so I can have at least like some of the things tested on ARKit. Well, of course, again, demo effects. I can just generate an entire bunch of blend shape clips and do all of that automatically. So it'll do all of this automation and stuff like that. Of course, since I don't have any of those ARKit blend shapes on my mesh, it stays as is. Now, the another thing that's really annoyed me was binding all of the Springbone groups. So Springbone groups. So if I check the armature here, I now have colliders for the index finger and the hand. Actually, in this case, this is the wrist bone. So I did not actually bind this mesh correctly in Unity. And the Springbones, and then binding all the colliders to the Springbones themselves. So now in the secondary thing, I have my what's this? The tail? Yeah, this is the tail, I think. Oh, this is empty. This is not even being used. Yeah. So that we have the fluff, we have the ears, and we have the tail. So all of these Springbone groups are now defined. So if I go check the avatar mesh, of course everything breaks when I try to demo it. Yeah, so I have all of those groups like predefined. So I have the ears, I have the hair, and all of those are already like set. And the colliders are colliding with these components. So all of the collider bindings have been done here. Oh god damn it, and I just noticed that hasn't been fixed. Yeah, so when it creates the arrays, when it creates the Springbone colliders, all of the colliders are bound to all of the bone dynamics. So this allows you to make some really complex bone dynamics, even if that might lag your wherever environment that might be working in. It still is something like I wanted to automate, because it's a whole bunch of work just to do this. So the entire process, this entire plugin is made to speed this up. To install the SDK pipeline from scratch, you're gonna have a new Unity 2019.4.31 project. You go to Window, Package Manager, and then here you can swap to. You have to wait until this is done. I don't need plugin updates right now. You go to here in project, and then we start adding the packages. So let's start from this one from the top. So it's gonna take a few moments. Unity could show more information of what it's doing in the background, but it's gonna take a while, and there it goes. So you do this for every single one of them. You just go down the list. Sometimes just make sure that when you're copying and pasting the URLs that there's nothing on top in front of the thing. Now the funny part was that I actually found out later that there is an actual plugin for Blender that allows me to export VRM models. So I could have actually done this entire pipeline improvement into Blender, and I will be doing it so because I do not like working with Unity actually. In any case, once it's successfully installed, you should have VRM0, Mal VRM Utility, and the other stuff included now inside here, inside Unity. And from here you can then bind everything into place. The other thing you have to do is that if you have an avatar, it will not do all of the autobinds immediately. There's a couple of changes you will have to do to the avatar themselves. So as a side note, you have to make sure that you have all the blend shapes on the avatar itself. Otherwise the bindings won't occur. So the modifications you have to do to the avatar are the following. We have to add a first person bone, and then we have to define the bones which we want to have physical. First, we will need a first person bone, and to do that, we just go to the armature, select the armature, and then we're going to extrude. So using the E hotkey, we're going to extrude, and then manipulate the bones in a way that we can add basically a bone where we want the camera to be at, and we call this the first person bone. Here, so this can be first person bone offset, first person offset. It can also be called as first person bone, or it can also be called FPV. If you're using the VRM SDK, VRM Unity VRM, you can do the bindings from here. But in this case, this modification is specifically for the Unity plugin. So, and the next step we want to do is you're gonna want to add the Springbone grouping definition. So to do this, for the UniVRM only, we are going to have to add a postfix fizz to our bones. So in this case, I'm gonna select my tailbone, the root of the tailbone, just the root, and I'm just going to add a fizz at the end of it. When I add fizz, it'll create a Springbone group for that. If I add, for example, I'm gonna take an ear and I'm gonna give it fizz2. So right ear, fizz2, fizz. Oh, actually, I'm just gonna use fizz1. This is gonna create a new Springbone group with the number 1 appended to it. So this is going to be, I want both of my ears to be a part of that. So this is like exactly how I'd want this to work. So now the tail is one group, it's the default group, and the ears are gonna be on group 1. Then I'm gonna add all the hair and the fluff to fizz2, I think. Yeah. I'm going to then import the FBX model as soon as I find it and remember where the heck did I put it. Forever avatar problems. So 223, 22 remaster, and example avatar. I'm also gonna need to include the basic textures because it's not embedded into the FBX. So I have the model here. I don't remember why exactly the materials is keeping it dark, but let's just center it here first. I'm gonna create a new material and lazily not name it. And I'm also gonna create the other material for the lens of the eye because I have a eye lens here too. And I'm just gonna remove it for the example. It's not important. Okay. And I'm just going to reassign the textures here. There we go. And then I'm going to make sure that the mesh came in with legacy blend shape normals because Blender export is kind of weird with FBX. And then I'm going to create a humanoid out of this. I will then make sure to save the scene. Of course, please make sure you organize your stuff. I'm just doing this because I'm bringing it and don't want to spend too much time on this. I'm going to set this to the jaw to none because I want to use just the blend shapes. Otherwise, the binding is going to be kind of annoying to work with. And oh, and because I remember that my avatar is actually using wrists, I want to make sure that for the body, the hands are using hands and not the wrist bone. And right hand. Avatar is not in T-pose. I'm going to go just enforce T-pose, apply. Done. So let's re-import it to Blender. Sorry, re-import it and reassign textures. So after enforcing it into T-pose, I can now export it. This is the part where which I want to fix at some point. So I'm gonna first enforce this, and I've noticed that this, at least the last version of 0.99, does not enforce the finger bones. So if you have leap motion, this is a step I want to improve on. So I'm gonna have to make sure that the Blender plugin will enforce the T-pose. I know it's possible because I've done it before with other VR things. So test avatar here. And I'm going to go into create a new folder, put this VRM folder here. And I don't need this one on the scene anymore, or not visible, don't need it enabled. So just disable it for now. And I'm gonna bring in the VRM export. So like previously shown, if by default you will not have any of the, you will only have the 10 default blend shapes, and these blend shapes are fairly basic. You also have nothing bound, and if you normally have to work with any of these, you'll have to again set these manually, and that's a lot of work to do. So I'm just going to go and autobind. Yep. So, and there was also an error that occurred apparently, so I will probably have to bug that. What's this? This object reference not. So generate Springbone group reference not set to instance of object. So there's still a bug somewhere there. I'm gonna fix that. So as you can see, there's a lot of things to still fix. There's some minor bugs here and there, and it does not always fully work. I'm gonna be fixing this a bit. This Springbone thing is actually fairly recent. So yeah, in any case, I'm just going to export this as a VRM from here, of course. So yeah, I'm just going to export this as is to my favorite avatar. The VRM avatar, and I'm going to open DC face so I can demonstrate this. So here I have another avatar. I have many avatars. Anyway, now which one was it? That's the question. I have so many versions of this stupid test because I was trying to do the avatar, the avatar animations themselves. Oh, I did forget one thing, which of course I would, because there's so many steps to remember, which is if you want to have the eyes following correctly, you'll need to also adjust the VRM specification for lookat points. So here, the horizontal mapping needs to be done correctly. But that's a lot of tweaking. I think I remember my values correctly. They were just somewhere around there and there. So I could also test it in Unity, which is probably its main strength right now. But this could be done with just having modifiers in Blender, so you can just have constraints, and I can probably calculate the ranges from there. But I'll get to that once I get to that. It's gonna take a while to research and develop. In any case, let's see. It's still gonna take me forever to edit this video. It's so messy. I am so apologies for this mess. Why do I torture myself so? Let's just remove all of this extra stuff here. And the eyes are not moving at all. Fantastic. I should have probably tested it. Let's see. Add empty. Yeah, well, in any case, the entire pipeline has been discussed. So I hope you enjoyed.